A shout out to Nintendo for giving us what we fucking asked for all these years.
You are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Mick, Alex, I Yield to No One, Sid, and Ender Phoenix.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trophy Wars. This is episode 719. I'm your host, Tricky Mick. Alongside with me, the man, the myth, the legend, and the Knicks doubter. It's Alex.
What are you talking about, the Knicks doubter? Whenever people ask me who's going to win the series, I said the Knicks. I'm not a Knicks fan, but because there's a former Kentucky player on the Knicks, I was rooting for the Knicks in the series.
Actually, I'm sorry. I did say Knicks doubter, but I meant New York doubter. You're like, I'm this is the first time in your life you ever root for a New York team.
Well, first of all, the only thing I doubted about New York is that the city would still be standing today after their victory in the finals. I would congratulate you on the championship, but you're not really a Knicks fan, so we're not going to let you bandwagon now.
No, I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm actually not a basketball fan at all. The only time I do watch basketball is during the playoffs, and this year was just a little special, but I'm not a converted bandwagon Knicks fan. I'm proud the Knicks won. They followed the Yankees. Wow, I'm tired. They followed the Rangers pretty closely because when the Rangers won their cup in '94, it had been 54 years. So the Knicks winning after 53 years is pretty damn close.
Yeah, it's a long drought. I mean, New York fans were kind of starved for a championship. They needed something, and one of my favorite things to do, and I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show, but ever since the Knicks punched their ticket to the finals, one of my favorite things to do on YouTube was go to the shorts. And one of the channels I watched was called Side Talk. And it's just these short videos, like a minute or less, of just like these patched together New York fans just screaming into a microphone about how much they love the Knicks and how much they hate, you know, Trey Young or James Harden or T-Mobile or whatever the hell it was. But yeah, like I just watched all the Knicks reactions, like pictures from New York of people climbing, street lights and climbing on top of trucks. And I heard some trucks got set on fire in the celebrations after the championship. But just seeing New York fans go crazy has kind of been one of my favorite things to watch over the last couple of weeks because drama is great when you're not embroiled in it. So the fact that people weren't trying to tear my city apart was great, but then I could watch them do it to their own city.
Yeah, it got a little crazy. I saw a stat. I'm trying to look it up right now.
Batman. I saw videos of Batman roaming through, riding a cycle through New York City the other night after the Knicks won. And I was like, man, they called in the professional to handle all the crime.
It got crazy. So reported so far, which take this with a grain of salt, there have been 63 people arrested, 4 stabbings, and 1 shooting reported after the Knicks win. Which
That's
I'm going
all.
to say this. I'm going
That's
to say
all.
this publicly, and I said this because the very next day after the Knicks won the championship, I had to work, and had seen the number of hours doing the Puerto Rican Day Parade, and also Knicks prep, parade prep. I will never in my life understand the concept of destroying your city because your sports team won a championship. Like, I get if you're upset. I mean, I'm not condoning violence or destruction at all, but I get if your team lost, but your team won, so you go out and destroy the city. I will never understand that for the life of me.
I honestly, even if Nick fans, because some of the videos I watched, Nick fans did say we're going to burn down this city if they win. I never thought that was going to happen because people are going to go out there, they'll get drunk, maybe they'll break some glass in the streets, maybe they'll kick down a sign or two, but I feel like New Yorkers, more so than a lot of people, take a lot of pride in their city and being from New York. So I never thought they would actually just rip it to pieces.
Well, I mean, and I'm not saying this in any other way other than fact. What I saw is most of the destruction was done by younger people. Like I to go on to what you're saying, the older, more mature uh people, they're not the ones that seem like right now. There are 3 kids that are posted on social media, them destroying a New York City cab, and people are calling like, "Why would you post this on social media? You're just gonna get yourself in trouble." Like, you have to understand, NYPD, they literally have a whole division that scours social media for crimes, and you posted this on your social medias of destroying a cab. Like, are you stupid?
I guess in the excitement, they don't care. They got to commemorate the occasion somehow. I mean, people commemorate crimes and do dumb shit on social media all the time.
I will never understand it. So anybody that's watching us live, surprise! I messaged the guys this morning to see if they wanted to do a show because we were just not available to do it yesterday. Matt is doing something with work, and he was unable to make it. I was unable to make it yesterday because the obscene number of hours. I actually didn't get out of work yesterday until after we started. We would have started recording. That left Alex and Yield, who, um, you know, they just for some reason they didn't want to record, and that's
Well,
fine because
I also
I kind
didn't
of
get
like.
home until after 7, so I kind of
Oh
figured
yeah,
that the day was a loss because well the other a few days before you both had mentioned that if the Knicks had won, you were not going to be available, and Matt may not have been available anyway. But Yield said, "I guess we'll take the week off." So I was just working under the impression that, and in general, like, I mean, yeah, we're pushing a show out tonight because, you and I could sit down and talk, but if possible, it's just kind of best to have 3 people. The discussions are always better with 3 people if you have them, because I
yeah,
think that you just get more conversation, you get different opinions. It's not just 2 people agreeing with each other, and.
yeah. Hold on, I'm just letting Will know we are recording. We are recording right now. Yeah. So yeah, it's between, like I said, the Knicks parade, the championship, the Puerto Rican Day parade that I worked yesterday. It's been a little crazy, and it's like I'm tired. Like I came home from work last night, went right to bed, got up, went to work, came home today, took a nap before we recorded, and I got to go to work tomorrow. It's and 10 a.m. I expect there to be a big problem, but uh, you know, which would be the day after we record this or release this. So, uh, yeah. All right, let's get into the show proper. Alex, updated trophy counts, which I don't know if they were updated. You didn't update them, did you?
I didn't, but I'll pull mine up because I've got mine right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull mine up, and for anybody watching or listening, it's gonna be a little delayed for me to give you guys the other ones. I am currently level 987 total trophies of 35,865 with 1,046 plats. I got
I
2
am
more.
level 535, total trophy count of 11,355, and a platinum count of 211 in 210 games.
Yield is oh, he's playing the game right now, so he's level 546 with 12,000 even trophies and 230 plats. Matt, I'm just gonna say it's probably the same, right?
You would imagine, and even if he wasn't, I don't think he'd be offended if we didn't mention his couple new trophies.
And Sid, we're going off of his old account right now. Uh, he did tell me he was going to unprivatize the other one. Sid is level 902, total trophies of 28,168 with 869 plats. It looks like he's currently playing The Last of Us Part 2. He's got 40% of those trophies. We will have a rarity update. That's going to be passing the show by Yield, and that will be happening right now.
Hey everybody, Yield coming at you with a rarity update. Let's get right into it. From Gareth, we have approximately a week of the current season to go. There is all to play for as contestants jostle positions, aiming to secure promotion or safety within their current division. In Division 1, it would take an almighty collapse for Edge to lose it from here. He has a lead of 348 points after securing 33 points this week, taking him to 1,438. His lead is over second place Pee Wee, who had 29 points, moving her to 1,090. Doc Chicken could make a late push for that runners-up spot, with him sitting at 1,062, now 28 points behind. Psychikist sits fourth. He had an over 800 common spam trophies, which earned him his 10 bonus points, contributing to his weekly score of 27, moving him to 852. Marky Frazier jumps up to 5th with his 26 points earned. He could make a final push for 4th, with him being 26 behind Psy. Nitro drops to 6, but isn't far off the two above him. He had 11 points this week, moving him to 819. Rolling on the floor, laughing out loud, Z had the highest score of the week within the Division 1 with 57 points. It brought him to within touching distance of Nitro with 791. Gareth could only manage 6 points, but held on to 8th spot with 681. Ifrit Hellfire is just 18 points further back with 663 after posting 22. I had a really good week by scoring 48 points, meaning I am 12 behind Ifrit on 651. I am in the final safety spot. Rick's 12 points means he fell a little deeper into trouble. He moved past the 600 point mark to 603, but is 48 points away from safety as it stands. X Nightmare looks destined for demotion. He scored 13, taking him to 394 in 12th place. In Division 2, despite scoring 0 points this week, it's safe to say Shoddy Sniper will be promoted to Division 1 for the next campaign. He leads the way on 1,968 points. Second, third, and fourth all scored modestly. Meets Goats a Lot moved beyond the 1,000 points with 7 earned this week, and occupies runner-up spot on 1,005. CJ is just 18 points behind Goat with 987 after he scored 26, and may well do enough to secure promotion with a strong final week. Dupes 25 went trophyless this week, and as a result lost ground through decay, meaning his total was reduced by 2 points. He now sits back at 950. California Wayne and Mr. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 84 look to have secured their spots as 5th and 6th. They scored 39 and 24 respectively, moving them safely onto 786 and 692. Tricky had 13 points this week and stays 7th on 514. The Grounded Gamer lost ground on Tricky with 7 points earned, taking him to 500 points for the season. Crook looks to be safe on 405 following a 14-point increase. Alex scored well with 29 points, moving him to 325 and currently safe. Prometheus 101 earned well this week with 37 points, moving him to 264, but it's too little too late as he occupies the first demotion spot. Waterfield 1 looks destined for Division 3 after picking up 4 points, giving him 209 for this season. And Division 3, the Big Don, having several quiet weeks, came back with a bang by earning the highest overall score for the week with 137 points. He has a comfortable lead at the top of the Division 3 on 717. Whilst it looks likely he'll be joined by Murray 2011 in Division 2 next season, Dodge Williams gained 20 points on him by scoring 38 compared to Murray's 18. Murray has 494 overall, whilst Dodge has 428 in third. Homer Gets Stuff looks set to finish 4th after bagging 29 points, advancing him to 382. Resident Daryl stays 5th despite not earning a point. He did earn trophies through Daryl stays 5th despite not earning a point. He did earn trophies though. Dat1 Seagull hit a good 49 points, including a couple of plats. It moves him onto the top 6. A good showing for being a part-time PlayStation gamer. The Brain 76 earned a solitary point, getting him onto 196. Departed closed the gap to within 20, so now sits on 176 thanks to a 9-point increase. Darth Knight hit 5 on his way to 168. Big Bernardo B also had 5 points, moving him to 123. Stink Palm lost a point after being trophyless this week, dropping him to 115, and Kalai moved up to 40 points following a 3-point score this week. The rarest trophies of the week. In 5th, we have Shoddy Sniper 123, the team that slays together from Resident Evil 5 at 7.91%. In 4th is myself with Sharpshooter from Rocket Bird's Evolution 2, 5.27%. In 3rd, we have Marky Frazier, White Knight from Cities Skyline, 4.3%. 2nd, Doc Chicken, Cup Champs, NHL 24, 2.23%. And in 1st place, we have the Big Don, Trophy Hunter from Dreams, 1.45%. Now, if you would like to vote for the May Plat of the Month, head over to Trophy Looting. Garrett should have a poll set up, and these are your nominees for the Plat of the Month for May. We have Dupes 25 with Crash Bandicoot 2, Redbeard Rick, Dead Space Remake, Gareth for Sandland, Shoddy Sniper 123, Infamous 2, Edge for Returnal, Shoddy Sniper again with Blueprints, Shoddy Sniper a third time for Heavy Rain, Pee-wee for Starfield, California Wayne, Cyberpunk 2077, and the last nominee is Doc Chicken for Diablo 2 Resurrected. Again, if you want to vote for any of these for the Plat of the Month for May, head over to Trophy Looting, cast your vote. That'll do it for the rarity update this week. I'll see you guys next week.
All right, Yield, thank you very much for that. How are you feeling in your standings on the rarity update, or do you even know it because we actually didn't listen to it live? Do you know your status on the rarity update?
I mean, last week I was 10th. I think that I was, out of the drop zone or, safe enough from the drop zone. I mean, look, I've accepted that I'm going to play the games I'm going to play. I'll get credit for what I get credit for, but, there are just people out there that have a better sense of how to, when these competitions are coming first. And I think even this season, like, Rick isn't in the running, which is crazy to hear because usually Rick's high up there. But, I mean, after that kind of first season where I was in, like, the top 6 or whatever it was, where I actually, went back and got a lot of old platinum trophies and got some old missing trophies, I just kind of, I'm not going to sweat what other people are playing. I'm just going to play what I'm going to play, and whatever it gets me is what it gets me.
Yeah, and I've said this before on the show. Like, I thank Gareth very much for doing the contest because I think it does add like a little, competition. Because I like competition. The reason I'm never going to be really successful in these is because I play too much of the newer games. I don't go back and play the legacy games, which get us the points. So it's I most games I get are going to be, common trophies, and that doesn't really score that well. So, I'm trying to look up the stats for where everybody is, and I can't find the right table. If you're looking for the table for anybody, you just go into the Trophy Luton Discord group, and there are, there's a link to the chart. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Where is Rick in this? Because I'm now kind of curious. Division 1. Rick is in... Yeah, he's in Division 1. He's in 11th. He's in the drop zone right now. He is currently 48 points behind Yield. Or the safe spot. Alex, you are currently safe by almost 61 points. from going into Drop Zone.
Yeah, well, that's not a bad spot to be.
Yeah. I am currently safe right now in 7th place. With 514 points, you have 325. Now, granted, a lot of my points come from getting the bonus points of getting all the chump games. Alrighty. We do not have a Sophie's Trophy. That will probably be coming next week. Trying to get used to this hosting thing again. And I'm also very tired. Let's get into what we're playing. Alice, tell us what you've been playing, sir.
You couldn't go to somebody else first, huh?
Well, there is literally nobody else.
That's the joke. So I went back and I actually got a new platinum trophy. I didn't mention that, but for all you lovers of math and people who can count, I did increase my numbers since the last time we talked, and my platinum trophy was in Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2. Uh, Not a hard platinum. There is some grindiness to it, but it's not a super long platinum. I just it's like I said, it's one of those games where it's more fun playing with people, and the campaign isn't really all that fun. It's kind of just the campaign in these platform brawlers, and people will point to the Subspace Emissary, I think was it in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, as being kind of a hallmark of everything, or like a banner that they kind of hold their expectations up to. But to me, the campaigns in these games are never that good. People they try, but I don't know how you make them interesting. You basically just in this game you just kind of go through the same three level, like not three levels, but the same three acts with the same, like largely the same bosses at the end, and like they do small tweaks to the story, but it's not a lot of fun. It's just kind of a grind to get through. So I mean, overall, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because I talked about it the last time I recorded, but I mean, it's a competent platform brawler. You would likely rather just be playing Super Smash Brothers, but one of the things I did find odd is that some of the characters from the first game, which I would think would be relatively popular characters, were removed in for the sequel, and they put in different characters. Like, for instance, like Sandy from SpongeBob SquarePants was completely removed from the game. Powdered Toast Man is removed as a playable character. He's a vendor in the campaign mode, but like that's the one that I have a big issue with. It's like, why would you take out Powdered Toast Man? Like, I think that people would love to play as him. Oblina from All Real Monsters was taken out. Michelangelo and Leonardo, I understand they were taken out of the first game, and Raphael and Donatello were put in the second game. I get it. You don't want to have all four Ninja Turtles in there because that's four fighter spots, and I got the math a little wrong because really, when you look at all the DLC and all the regular characters, the Ninja Turtles, Avatar, and SpongeBob SquarePants take up close to half the spots for fighters, so I can understand why they took them out. Helga from Hey Arnold got taken out. Cat Dog got taken out. So I mean, they just took out a bunch of characters for no reason. It's like I think the first game, as I was counting on Wikipedia, had like 25 characters, maybe with DLC, and the second game has 29. So it's like, why didn't you just leave those characters in? They were already built. They already had their move sets. You know, why didn't you just leave them in and just add the other characters in? Like I don't know. It's weird that they took so many characters out and replaced them with others, and only had four characters, growth as far as the roster, because usually you look at Super Smash Brothers, if you're trying to ape Super Smash Brothers, those games had like large jumps in the roster, so you would think that the second game in this series would have a lot more characters, but for some reason they decided to go against it. But yeah, that was disappointing that they took out some characters like Powdered Toast Man. I was not a huge fan of that. But got the
I
platinum
don't even
trophy
know
in
who the hell
that.
that is.
What's that?
I don't even know who the hell that is.
You don't know who Powdered Toast Man is from Ren and Stimpy?
Oh, okay. Now got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no mistaking him.
I I've the name sounded very familiar. I just could not remember who the hell that was.
That's like not knowing who Quail Man from Doug is.
You know
If
how
I say
long it's
Quail Man,
been?
you're like, I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who
But you
Quail
know
Man?
how,
Like when he puts the belt on his head and he wears his underwear outside his pants, and it's Doug, but he becomes Quail Man.
okay. You know how long it's been since I've seen Ren and Stimpy or Doug?
Nick, but this is stuff you don't forget. Like, do you remember that Reptar is from Rugrats?
No.
Good lord. So I guess that you don't know that the three characters in All Real Monsters are Crumb, Ickis, and Oblina, right?
Sure.
Ugh, god dang you, Tricky. So we'll move on to the next game I've been playing because I'm sure that you have opinions on this. Darksiders War Masters Edition for the PS5. So I talked about how I bought the game, the PS4 version on sale for $8, and then got the $10 upgrade to the War Master Edition on PS5 to save myself about $11 over just buying the War Master Edition for the PS5 outright. I am decently far into the game. I would say halfway, maybe. I've beaten 3 of the chosen, that being Tiamat, the Griever, and the Stygian. I'm currently on my way. Well, I'm fiddle fucking around trying to get some trophies. But I am next heading to the Iron Canopy to fight Silithia, the giant spider uh, that Tricky claims he can beat blindfolded or with his eyes closed. But um, so it's been a while since I played Darksiders. I don't think I've played it since I played it on the PS3 when it came out in 2010. So we're talking about going on 16 years since I played this game, and I've talked about having a fondness for this game and like replaying it. I love the designs for the enemies. I think the bosses are really well designed. I think that all the horsemen are really well designed. It's got, a pretty good story that it doesn't have to be super like in depth. It doesn't have to be super impressive. Like the story is just good. It just works with the characters and within everything, we know about the horsemen. It's just kind of a shame that THQ got closed down before they could finish everything out. Now, of course, we're going to get a new Darksiders, and we have Darksiders 1 through 3 and Genesis, so I guess in the end it didn't hurt, but I mean, Vigil Games has been closed down since, so you would like to see Vigil Games kind of finish out what they started. It is nice that Vigil's, like their image for their studio is in the War Master Edition, so they do get credit, for creating the game. But yeah, like there are very specific aspects of this game that I really enjoy. Doing the dungeons, getting to the Twilight Cathedral and the Hollows, which are the first 2 dungeons. Just really well designed, a lot of fun to go through. Love doing the puzzles, and if you ask me to recall parts of this game, I just couldn't pull them from memory. But then I get into the game, and I remember exactly like the entranceway to the Hollows as you're getting ready to fight the Griever when it first pops up. Like I was like, oh yeah, it's like it just snaps me back to that time. Um, so it's I think the only thing I have to complain about thus far, I mean, honestly, to me, like I really wish this game was kind of a remake from the ground up, which at some point I expect we'll be talking about another remake before the end of the show. But I really wish instead of just being the remastered edition of the PS4 game put on PS5, they had just remade it from the ground up. Maybe that's too much to ask of 2HQ Nordic, but this game kind of warrants that. I mean, it still looks good, but I really would like to see it just built from the ground up in 2026 technology. But you know, some of the gameplay of this game, like some of the connective tissue, because it's not just like like Legend of Zelda. It's not just like okay, you just warp to the dungeon and fight the enemies and the bosses. There's kind of connective tissue. You got to travel to there, and I think that's kind of the weakest part of the game so far, is getting to the Twilight Cathedral and getting to the Hollows is a little bit. I don't want to say a chore, but it's just the least fun part of the game. I'll have to say, like there's a flying segment as you're going to the Twilight Cathedral, which is kind of like I get it. They did it to break up some of the monotony of just doing the hack and slash combat and all that. And then there's a segment as you're going to fight the Griever after you beat Ulthane, where it's like you're dueling him in a contest to see who can kill how many angels, and the angels are just damage sponges. They're just you get this big impressive gun, and the angels just soak up so much damage, and it's like especially armored ones. And I get it, they're armored, but man, that just makes that segment kind of I'll say that segment's a chore. I'm not a huge fan of that. So once you get to the dungeons, it's fabulous. Outside of that, sometimes I feel like the game really falters and it's not nearly as fun to play. But I love the world they created in Darksiders. I love that they followed a Zelda style trajectory, at least as far as like the 64 Zeldas go, where it's like you got your dungeons and you get your weapon in each dungeon and use that somehow. You got to figure out how to use that weapon to beat the boss. So like those aspects of it, I really like it. I love the dark tone. I like the characters. Obviously Mark Hamill is the Watcher, the voice of the Watcher in this. Samael, like all the characters are really good. I just think that some of the gameplay segments that they try to put in there to kind of get you to the dungeons are kind of just not nearly as fun as the dungeons. So the dungeons stand out, but other parts of the game just I kind of would rather skip, to be perfectly honest with you. So I don't if you feel the same way, Tricky, or if you've played the game relatively like in recent times to be able to comment on it. But yeah, I mean I still think to me it's the best game in the series. I've not played 3, but I haven't heard great things. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say my opinion on the game has completely changed. I just kind of maybe recognize some of the faults more now than I did when I was playing on the PS3. I don't know, Tricky. What do you think?
I haven't. I've only gotten past being redeemed and being able to go on to save my brother in the game. So I don't really remember the story, and that was kind of the reason why I was playing it again. I mean, I remember the story obviously, but I don't really remember like the story beats of it.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
you're trying to restore the balance, and there's betrayal, and you
yeah, I
gotta,
I
yeah,
really like the way the game. I like the way the game controls, or at least what I remember. Um, I do love the story. I think they have the perfect voice for War. I think his voice fits his character very well. Um, so yeah, I look forward to playing it, but I got so much to play right now. The new season of Division starts tomorrow. That's gonna be fun.
yeah. I'll let you rip
Uh,
off here in a second. The last thing is
and
one of the more disappointing things, I guess, is that the trophy list is just straight ripped from the old list, and it's just like you're already just putting re-releasing the remaster on PS5. Y'all can't make a new trophy list, or at least like it's a decent enough trophy list. It's progression check marks, beat this boss, get this weapon, finish collecting this group of items. But I mean, overall, it's like I do really enjoy, and that is something that is a lot of fun about playing these games. Like you look at the Sly Cooper games, and like the Sly Cooper games, depending on which version you play, have a different trophy list. And it just would have been nice if they had kind of put more effort into creating a new trophy list for this game, because I think that would be just a kind of a new way to experience the game. But I mean, I
do you,
think anyone who played the game before and liked it will still like it. It's just this day, this day and age, I think some of the warts are a little bit more recognizable. But when it comes down to the dungeon design and the enemies and the story and all that, and just playing as war, like that's all still great. So yeah, I mean, I always remember like that they had really like recognizable names, or like easily remembered names for all the dungeons, like the Iron Canopy and the Twilight Cathedral, like just really really cool names. And like having a giant bat as the boss of the Twilight Cathedral, like I go back in the day where I played Castlevania as a kid, and the first boss is a vampire bat, and like so like that kind of stuff like hits home with me, and just you know I don't know. It's such a cool concept that was executed pretty well, and I do recognize that they tried to vary up the gameplay. It doesn't always hit, but like you know, just the concept of hunting down these giant monsters to get their hearts, to then go after the boss. I mean, it's a simple concept, but it just works so well in these games. So yeah,
do you
I've
know how many? Do you how many enemies you killed on the Angelic Beast?
not how many I needed. I defeated 66% of the 100% I needed. So I think you have to kill 150 and
160.
160. I thought it was 150.
100, 160.
So yeah, I missed a couple, and I also missed the open air parking trophy where you have to hit during the apocalypse scene at the beginning. You have to hit a helicopter with a car. Forgot about that
Yes,
one.
you
So
do.
luckily that one's at the beginning. So I just got start a new game, and that scene on the Griffin that you're flying and shooting is like within an hour of the start of the game. So it's not you know all that much trouble to go back and get it. But yeah, this game not as long as I would shouldn't say not as long as I remember. Just it's not super long. Like I'm less than 10 hours playing it, and I've already beat 3 of the bosses, and I'm on the way to the 4th dungeon if I wanted to. So uh not I'm not saying that the length is any kind of like negative thing, not using that against it, but just if you're if you're going to play it through on normal and then go through on apocalyptic, to get that trophy. Although the trophies do stack, so if you can start on apocalyptic and just get all 3 difficulty trophies, but playing through it twice isn't really going to take all that long. So I don't remember. Is there New Game Plus for this game?
I don't think there is.
Yeah, that's kind of silly. Like that's another thing. They just give us New Game Plus. I know that would make apocalyptic easier, but you put all this effort into trying to, to getting the weapons powered up and everything and getting all your power. Just give us New Game Plus. This game would
Actually, you
work
know what?
really well for
I
that.
think there. Actually, you know what? I think there actually is.
Well, that would be really nice.
Let's see. Hold on. Let me just Google it real quick.
Games should just have New Game Plus naturally. Why wouldn't you?
The first game and Genesis do not feature a traditional New Game Plus. Darksiders 2 and
Well,
Darksiders 3 do.
rats. Well, that's one thing Darksiders 2 and 3 have above the first one.
Uh, yeah. I'm just looking through your trophies right now. You are fairly close to. Oh, you killed 9 out of 10 people with one Geyser Blade Wrath attack, so you missed that by 1.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I know.
You got to search 10 more caskets. You got half the artifacts already. You got a lot more riding to do for 100 miles. You got 86 out of 150 demons from horseback. And you got to kill 25 more people with things from the environment.
Yeah, I'm currently doing that right now. That's what I'm that when I said I was fiddle fucking around, that's what I meant. I was picking up.
That's what I focus on, because I remember the first time I played that game, I was like, oh god, I finished the game and I had like 3 out of the 150. I was like,
Well, all you got to
I
do
gotta
is go
go
back and forth to the crossroads because you can use the snake holes from Volgrim to
Right.
travel to the crossroads where a lot like of the weak zombie folks are, and you can just pick up cars and light posts and mail and U.S. postal boxes and just pick them up and throw it at them and kill them in one hit. So.
yeah. Yeah, I look forward to going back and playing that. But right now, like I said, Division 2 is coming out with their new season tomorrow. It's called Into the Dark. And they made a significant change to the Division for this season, where Division 2 has 3 dark zones. They're going to, one dark zone, they're going to make a PvE only. So you can go in there and you can't get rogue attacked or nothing like that. You're gonna, for the first time, you're gonna be able to go into an area and other people are going to be visible, so they can't kill you. Which traditionally is the dark zone. Like that's the multiplayer area. There's gonna be one dark zone that's gonna be PvP, and everybody's builds are gonna be balanced. They nerfed everything down to its basic cores, so it's more competitive. And then one of the dark zones is going to be just like it always has been, where all hell breaks loose. So it's going to be interesting in this next season. They're talking about possibly making a dark zone in the future, PVE, because a lot of people are intimidated about going into the dark zone because you don't want to spend a half hour, 45 minutes going out there and farming the best equipment. And then the second you shoot up a flare, everybody on the map knows you're there and comes and kills you. And then you lose the thing that you've been fighting for half an hour for. So this is their way of introducing it. They got a nice story beat with it too. The only thing that's going to suck for me is my build is a gadget-based build. So like my gadgets are strong as hell, but I'm squishy as fuck. So when you shoot up a flare in the PvE dark zone, instead of having other factions come kill you, they spawn a hunter, which is the strongest enemy in the game. And the hunters have a unique ability where they're able to take over your gadgets, and they're strong as hell too. So I can't use the traditional ways that I would kill an enemy, because the second I put out my turret, they hack it, and then that turret starts shooting me. And like I said, I'm squishy as hell, and basically a hunter can one-shot me. So I normally have ways to get around it. I stay in cover, throw out my gadgets, my skills. I can't do that. So I'm going to have to rely on other people to get me out of the dark zone to complete this season, which is going to be pretty interesting. Started
Yeah,
playing more.
you're the one helping people through division, so it's kind of odd to hear that you're going to need help from other people to kind of carry you.
Well, it's not necessarily carry me. Like I can take out a hunter by myself, but it's I normally have a strategy for taking out a hunter. Like I take my time and I take my shots. The problem is that when you send up the flare, traditionally the way the Dark Zone works is you go to an area, you shoot up a flare, a helicopter comes, and then you have a limited time to put something on a rope to get it out. I'm not gonna have. I'm not gonna be able to kill the hunter fast enough to put it on the rope. That's gonna be my problem. I can survive a hunter encounter. I can't survive and put myself on the rope at the same time. So it's gonna be interesting. Um, Playing more James Bond. Uh, I'm starting to get frustrated with it a little bit, Alex. I gotta tell you, it's every time you do a mission, you go back to the headquarters. You gotta talk to this person. You gotta talk to that person. You gotta talk to this person, and you can't run in the game. Well, you can run. You can't run in the headquarters. So like I'm walking from here, walking to there, walking to here, and it's just like, and I know why they did it because as you walk, random conversations happen. So like, and they kind of like traditionally want you to overhear that conversation. So I mean, that aspect is cool, but it's like I just want to go out and shoot people and be James Bond, and no, I got to listen to this person tell me about 009, and this person tell me about the new gadget, and it's starting to frustrate me a little bit.
It's building the
Um,
lore. It's fleshing out the world, Tricky.
it is, but I want to go out and kill people. Is that too much to ask?
I mean,
I guess.
it can't just be all run and gun, man. You got to have some segments in between. Like I said, you got to
Uh,
have that connective tissue.
what else have I been playing? I know I played something else this week. Didn't play much, but I played something else this week. I played Carrot Bounce, which is that's a spam game.
Yeah, you
Did
can
I
tell by the
get?
title that's a game not worth mentioning.
I mean, listen, it's a spam game, but it's not the traditional. You got to hold down the button to get a platinum. Like I actually had to work for it. It took me a whole 5 minutes to get it. So, did I get the Lego Batman platinum by last time we recorded?
I don't believe
I think we
so.
did.
I don't
Uh,
think so, but I could be wrong.
it says I got it 2 weeks and 5 days ago, so I would assume I had it. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. Uh, I've gotten 9 out of 38 007 trophies. I will have to go chapter select and go back and get a lot of the collectibles because I'm apparently missing a lot of them. But I've been looking, but to be honest, I don't know what I'm picking up because like in some games, like you go to something and you see a newspaper article and you think it's just lore. Like I don't know if that's a collectible. I got to look into what I'm actually supposed to be collecting because I'm not seeing a lot of things to collect. And it doesn't pop up saying, "Hey, this was collected." It just like you pick up a paper and then you put the paper down. It doesn't say like you collected it. So I don't know. But that's all I've been playing. I think that's it. Yep.
Oh, I do want to mention one more thing before we move on about Darksiders.
Sure.
And I don't know if this was in the PS3 version. I assume not, but there's a photo mode, and they've got some really cool like. There's not a ton of options for taking photos, but they let you, click on the R3 stick and you can kind of free up the camera to move around as you wish to kind of set the scene. And they've also got different filters for you to use, like a pixelated one. There's just some really cool ones, especially with how the game looks, the style, the bosses, and everything, and some of the situations you can find yourself in. War gets a giant gauntlet, so the fact that you can kind of take a picture of yourself right before the impact of punching someone in the face with a giant gauntlet is pretty cool. So the only issue is as soon as you take the picture, it you brings up your messages to send to a friend, and it won't natively just send it to the PlayStation app. Like usually, if you take a picture in photo mode or whatever, it saves it to your system, and then thus it'll send it to the app, and then I can go and save that later from the app and download it to my phone and send it wherever. This game, like in this photo mode, I can't figure out how to get it on the PlayStation app, so I'm kind of just sending them each photo to myself in messages. And so I've got to
I
go through
think
those and see what I can do. Maybe just save it to my system, and maybe that'll work. But the photo mode is really appreciated because I it's one of those games that I want to go back and look at pictures at, and there could be really cool photos. I just can't figure out how to get them on the app, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, that's the
I
other thing.
I think they stopped that.
No,
I don't
because
think your
if
pictures.
you take a screenshot of the game, like if you hit the option, or like not options, but the little button on the left, if you take a screenshot in game, it sends it directly to the app. Because any photo I've taken like that in the game will send it to the app. But
No, I know what you're saying. I'm saying I thought they stopped that feature.
no, because it
Where
does
did
it
I
in
see it?
Darksiders. It just the photo mode built into the game, it doesn't do that.
That's weird. Okay. I remember, and I could be misremembering. I thought they stopped the ability to send photos to the app, like you manually had to do it. I don't know. It don't matter. All right, let's get into our stories. We have a bunch of stories, and luckily Matt left me notes, so I'll be able to get through this because I told him I was going to be too tired to read all these articles. Our first topic: Valve has confirmed physical Steam gift cards are dead. Once the current stock of cards are sold, no more will be made available at retail stores. You can still buy digital cards through Valve. Valve's primary reason is provided is that scammers have been using the physical gift card to impact customers through various schemes, which Valve has been trying to combat for over a year. Valve estimates the current stock will be available through the end of 2026. Alex, is this a good move by Valve, or is this just a bad move by them?
I mean, does Sony still sell? The Sony still sells their own cards in stores, right?
Yes,
Okay.
but the Valve cards, for some reason, um, I don't know like all the details, but basically, like any money put onto a Valve card, you could somehow transfer it over to another median, in which they're able to get the actual cash value. You don't have to spend it at Valve. From my understanding, of the way the scams are working with the Nintendo gift card and the Sony gift card, you cannot do that.
Well, how the hell did Sony and Nintendo figure that out and Valve can't?
I don't know, but my assumption, and again I'm just assuming, is that because it's PC based, maybe there's some kind of loophole. I don't know.
So, I mean, I guess if people are finding that workaround, I don't blame them for doing it. Um, yeah, it's you can't have people buying Steam gift cards and then having that workaround where they can get the cash and spend it wherever they want. So, mm, I can't blame them
I
from moving away and trying to close that loophole.
Yeah, my only worry is that they're doing this to avoid scammers. Got it, but a lot of people are very hesitant about putting their credit card number online.
Well, they still said you
So
can get digital codes, right?
right, right, but you're gonna have to use your credit card online to get those. Um, which I get. I mean, that is probably a product of the reality we're living in now, is where you're gonna have to put your credit card number online. Me personally, if I have to put my credit card online, I go through a third party app like Google Wallet. Um, you put your credit card number into the Google Wallet, which is on your phone, and then when you scan the Google Wallet at like a store, the store gets an entirely different credit card number. So if somebody was to steal that, they're not able to access your actual credit card. Uh, so I get it, but I think this is a good move by Valve, but I also think it's very limited because there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to want to put their credit card online. I think Valve, with all their success, could possibly start losing some money by doing this.
I
I
mean,
don't think it's going to happen, but possibly.
people were kind of moving away from, for the longest time, you went to the store and you bought something and, you brought it home. And in the case of video games, you would, use a gift card or a game code on your console and be able to download the console. Obviously, either way, you've got to have an internet connection, so that doesn't factor in. But I can understand how people are hesitant to put their information, their, financial information online because that isn't always, saved. It doesn't always seem like it's, safe when a lot of companies, have been breached numerous times. But it's another transition away from our traditional method of buying, of going to brick and mortar, where you go buy a physical thing and then you bring it home. Now it's you just go into the cloud or you go onto your video game console and you just download it. Go turn on your computer, go get a Steam code and send it to a friend
Yeah,
and spend money that way.
First, Will, how you doing? He's in the chat, and he posted the classic scammer answer. Why did you redeem it? Because there's a lot of people out there that know they're being scammed, so they pretend like they got a Steam card, and they're like, oh, I redeemed it in the Google Play Store or the Valve Store, and then the scammer is pissed off because you redeemed the code. Yeah. Sony themselves stopped selling the game cards. You can no longer go to like GameStop or Best Buy and buy the card that says I want to get this game, because a lot of people were just getting the card and downloading it and not making the money. For some reason, they were able to get around the fact that it didn't have to be activated. So,
well, and that double
I
fucks
think
GameStop because obviously GameStop had a lot of those code cards that they would then sell, but now it's like you have to buy it
right.
from, if you want it digitally, you kind of have to buy it from the digital stores, and that even further cuts out GameStop.
Yeah, Will's in chat says just as well as you should only buy physical. You're the only person, my dude, that's still trying to buy physical. Everybody else is moving to the digital world.
Well, that's an exaggeration. He's not
I,
the only person. There are still plenty of people
I,
trying to buy physical. It's just kind of at some point
I,
your hand is going to be forced, and you may not have the opportunity to do that.
obviously, I was being sarcastic there, Mr. Alex. Yeah. So like I said, I think it's a good move by Valve, but to combat scammers. But I think this could actually hurt Valve somewhat. I think Valve is just too big to really worry about that so much. But I think this could hurt them people putting their credit card numbers online.
See, here's the thing. I kind of feel like, and maybe this is wrong, but if there's any group of people who have moved on to being more digital, I would guess it's the PC folk.
PC, yes.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, moving on to our next story. I actually hold on. The Valve story comes from WindowsCentral.com. The next story is coming from WolfsGamingBlog.com. Okay. Gears of War E-Day has a $400 million budget. Estimate comes from Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming's latest podcast. Tom states he hears it's upwards of $400 million, which he believes is crazy. The game is reported to have a 14-hour campaign, and at $70 price tag, would have to sell 1 million copies just to break even. There's a chance with the Game Pass and then there's the Game Pass impact. So this console exclusive, does this even have a chance? So $400 million. Maybe I'm a little jaded, but I thought that was like pretty much standard nowadays. Like that's how much the AAA games are costing to make. Maybe I'm just a little too jaded in that.
No, I think that's like double what even some of the more expensive ones cost to make. Because I seem to remember that we'd talk about things like Spider-Man and Horizon in the light of it cost $200 million or something like that to make. Because I know how much. I know Soros. What was it? $75 million. It cost Sony how much to make Soros? Let me see.
Looking up right now. Make Soros.
$76 million roughly.
Okay, so yeah, all right. So
or
I was over
78, roughly 76 to 78 million. So yeah, I would say 400 million's a lot, and yeah, it's. I mean, I assume that they will easily sell 1 million copies. Now, whether you sell it 1 million copies at full price, maybe not, but maybe
Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 cost $315 million to make.
How much was Horizon? Because I remember we talked about that.
I'll look it up. Go ahead, say what you can say.
This is kind of a
Forbidden. $212 million to develop Forbidden West.
Yeah, so roughly half. I mean, shit. Like, is Gears of War E-Day gonna be twice as good as Horizon Forbidden West? Probably not, because Horizon West Forbidden West is a really good game. So that's just kind of an example of just cost ballooning out of control. If you could make Forbidden West with 200 million, you should be able to make Gear of War with 200 million.
I think, I think more aspect is being that they've made this a console exclusive and that this is going to be on Game Pass. I think the point of the article is $400 million too astronomical a price to pay, because they're not going to. I mean, yes, 1 million copies is a big number of games. Don't get me, excuse me, a lot of sales. But are they going to be able to get 1 million copies? Being that most people, I say most people, and I'm being a little dramatic there, but most people are probably just going to play this on Game Pass, and you're not going to make the money that way.
I just think that's a crazy amount to spend on a game. Like, this is, we know Grand Theft Auto's got a massive budget, but this is not Grand Theft Auto. I mean, if Sony can make Spider-Man, for, just over 300, I would think that you could make a really good game, a AAA game, topping out around, 200 million to 220 million. Like, I just don't know why. I'm sure Wolverine's going to cost a lot. I would be, surprised if it wasn't more, at least as much or more than Spider-Man, but get up to 400 million. There's a reason why these game companies are not making as much money as they want to, and why studios are closing. It's because shit like that. You don't need to spend $400 million to make Gears of War.
Do you think they have a chance to make back their money?
I mean, maybe. There is a chance. I mean, it is Gears of War. It is one of their, most vaunted franchises, but I also think Gears of War has kind of lost a lot of its luster, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, when it was in the hands of Epic Games and Cliff Bleszinski, it definitely had a lot more shine than in the hands of the Coalition. Is that who's doing it now?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so. But no, that's just a crazy amount to spend to make a game.
Is Coalition the same company Cliffy B was? No. Was Cliffy B a part of Coalition?
No. He was just part of Epic, and I forget what the name, if he had a specific studio that he worked at or whatever, but.
I haven't actually heard that name in a while.
Cliff Bleszinski? Yeah, he kind of disappeared.
Yeah, let's see. Doesn't say. It was not, his Wikipedia file is not that big. Yeah. Oh, he was from Epic Games. Yes. 20 years with the company. Cliff B announced his departure in 2012, saying that he needed to take a break because he's been making video games since he was a teen. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What is he doing now? He's writing a comic book as of 3 years ago.
Great. Yeah. There's your Cliffy B update in case you have been wondering where he's been.
He's actually older than I thought he was. He's 51.
I mean, not surprising.
I thought he was like maybe 40s, like early 40s.
You think, well, he'd be my age. No, I mean, he's like, those games came. I don't remember when the first Gears of War came out, but it definitely, I guess it was for the 360. But no, I mean, he obviously was in his 30s then, late 20s. I mean, yeah.
Gears of War came out. Oh, well, that can't be right. It says the initial release date was August 26, 2025.
Well, that's the one the remake or whatever.
20 years ago, November 7th, 2006.
Yeah.
And then it came to Windows a year later.
So it's been a while. I mean, I could believe early 30s for then.
All right, our next topic, also concerning Microsoft, Halo Campaign Evolved has locked the game manual behind the Premium Edition. The digital manual is reportedly only available in the $60 Premium Edition. The game will be at $40 at release, but as you can see, Microsoft is trying to entice people to pay a little bit more for things we used to get within the game. So, if Alex, I know you don't have it up, but there is a graph showing the difference between the standard edition and the premium edition. In the standard edition, you get the Foundry Armor pre-order pack and the base game. For the premium edition, you get 5 days early access. You get a Alpha Halo Armory pack, digital art book, a digital short called Hungry Buzzards, and then you get the game manual. So, I don't know about this.
I have been going. It's a digital manual, by the way. It's not like a physical
Yes, it's
one.
a digital.
But
it's a digital manual.
It has been so long. Like I remember like on this NES and the Super Nintendo, like I loved getting those manuals in the boxes. It's been so long since we had gotten like manuals with games that I just kind of accept now that it like just they just don't come with them, and I'm fine without them. I'm not paying an extra $20 for a digital manual.
No, but
What kind of sucker
I
do I
mean,
look like, Tricky?
that's a little egregious. That you're not given the game manual unless you buy the premium edition. That should be in the base game.
Yeah, but every game has a tutorial now where it holds your hand through a section of the game.
That is very true. That's a little crazy. That article came from Prima Games. Wow, they're still around? I didn't know that. All right, moving on to our next story, which kind of got a little added information right before we recorded. Xbox plans significant layoffs as the new CEO plans an overhaul. For all the good Asha Sharma has built up, she's evidently posed to slash more jobs at the company. The exact scale is not known, but they're expected to announce it after the close of their fiscal year on June 30th, which is 2 weeks away. This report comes from insiders at the company who asked to not be identified, but also report that Xbox is planning to significant slash budgets for marketing and some areas of the business. I guess this is why they get potentially spending $400 million in Gears of War and want you to pay more for digital manuals. That was Matt's comments. The added thing that we were just talking about before the show is apparently Xbox is looking to Microsoft is looking to spin off Xbox. Did you read through all this, Alex?
I mean, Will brought this to our attention. I didn't. It's kind of seemed like it's not been confirmed, so it's just kind of people are just putting kind of conjecture out there and just kind of guessing. It's not. It doesn't seem like it's concrete, so I didn't really look that much into it because I didn't know if we were going to talk about it.
Well, basically, they're saying that Microsoft is not looking to sell Xbox, but they're looking to let them be self-sustained. Like Xbox is going to live and die on what they do. There's been reports that some companies are looking to spin off ahead. Some of those games being Compulsion Games, Ninja Theory, and Double Fine, which Alex, Double Fine holds a special place in your heart.
Yeah, unfortunately, that company, despite their critical success, has never been a seemingly financially successful company. Their games don't succeed in the way that companies want them to, which is with profits.
And then Will posted a picture saying, coming from The Verge, Xbox is looking to close down Hellblade creator Ninja Theory. Quote, staffers were told on the call on Monday about the closure, but they're hoping the studio will find a buyer. I think that's crazy considering they just announced a new Hellblade game called Senua. And I put in the comment.
Well, yeah, you were like,
joking.
Sony should buy them, and I'm like, what do you mean Sony should buy them?
I said that as a half joke, but in reality, like when I found out that Ninja Theory was purchased by Microsoft, I was like, that's a company Sony should have jumped on.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, but obviously, I mean, I talked about it when we talked about the announcement of the third game. The second game wasn't super successful, it seems, financially. Like, it didn't really go high up the sales charts when it debuted. And you look at Sony. Sony is very much in the habit of closing studios lately, and they're staring at this Bungie debacle where fans are actively revolting. Like, oh, what is it? Destiny fans are actively revolting against them ending support of the game. And it seems like they see Marathon as the enemy, and there's a section of people trying to, I guess, seemingly looking at Marathon as the reason that Destiny 2 is no longer a thing. And of course, we talked about Destiny 3 is not in the plans right now because apparently Sony didn't want to spend the money. It's Sony's got their own problems they're staring down, and they don't need to acquire another studio. Which when they slashed all these live service games, they spent all this money on Bungie. They got some shit to figure out.
Uh, I mean, if these companies do spin off, I mean, do you think that would be better for them or worse for them?
I mean, them still being around and open and doing business is what's best for them. But I don't know who is going to buy Double Fine these days. I just don't. I mean, EA's not. Activision's not around anymore. That's now part of Microsoft, who currently owns Double Fine. I can't see Sony doing that. You think about maybe Nintendo will actually spend some money and buy a studio or two, but they don't traditionally do that.
No, they
So,
don't.
I mean, they've got Bayonetta. I mean, Bayonetta has kind of become just an exclusive for them, even though I think it's made by Sega. Or no, Platinum Games. Is it published by Sega? I can't
Platinum.
remember. But is Hellblade something they would want on the Nintendo console? So there's just not many people to buy them, and there's been a history of EA shopping themselves to be bought. So yeah, I don't know. Like, unless it's like a Japanese company, and which Ninja Theory I think is in Europe and Double Fine's here in America. I can't see Capcom buying them. So like, yeah, there's just not enough companies out there to buy them.
Bayonetta is developed by Platinum Games and published by Sega and Nintendo.
Boom, I had it right. But yeah, so I don't think Sony's in a good spot to buy any of these companies. I was looking at Saros sales, made by Housemarque. Saros sales, sold respectively, but when your budget's 76 to 78 million, like they just didn't make that up in the initial release window, and there's talk of maybe that is not going to meet Sony's projections, or make back the money they put out to make that game, even though it is a really good game. So there's Sony's looking at some kind of losses here, and and they attributed a big loss recently to the Bungie and Destiny and Marathon. So I just don't think that anyone can buy them. It's like them being
I
bought. I don't think like Double Fine had trouble standing on their own. They had to change their whole philosophy of developing games after Brutal Legend. They went to smaller sized games like Costume Quest and Stacking. But obviously, when they allowed themselves to be bought by Microsoft, knowing something like this could happen, obviously Tim Schafer and company realized that it was going to be really hard for them to stand on their own.
yeah, I mean, Double Fine is actually the reason why I learned of Kickstarter because they kickstarted one of their games. Um, that's how I learned about Kickstarter. Like that was a thing. So, I mean, I was happy to see that Microsoft bought them because if you're going to Kickstarter, somebody as well known and as accomplished as Double Fine is, and they're having to resort to crowdfunding to get their next game, like that was kind of sad to see. I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm just being, just saying what I feel. So I was glad to see them, and like Alex pointed out, like they've made good games, but they've never been very financially successful. So, and then you got a company like Compulsion Games, which just came out with South of Midnight, and there's reports that they're looking to shut down that studio. I put that in our chat too. So
Yeah, I mean Tim Schafer is a
I
brilliant man. He's a brilliant game designer, and I mean, if a game comes out, and he's got a hand in it, chances are I'm going to like it. But you know, it's just this is kind of the thing that happens when you give yourself to a larger company. Yes, you have more support, but that support can also dry up, and then you also are at risk of being closed when that company doesn't see the return on investment that they want. So, and imagine being Asher Sharma and being like, you're handed the reins of Xbox, and it's like all sunshine and rainbows. And who knows, maybe all this good news was to blunt some of this stuff that we're about to see from them if it does go through. But you're Asher Sharma, and there's talk of spinning off the Xbox brand, so you've got to be independent and like self-sustaining. Um, and they're talking about closing a bunch of studios. Like, who wants that mess? If I were Ash Sharma, I'd be like, can I go back to the AI division? Again,
All
not a
right.
fan of AI, but if I'm Asher Sharma, I'm looking at this situation a lot differently than maybe I was, 4 or 5 months ago.
Listen, right now, it this is gonna be surprising coming out of my mouth. Right now, I think she's got a tough job and she's got to make the tough choices. Like if she's got to make cuts and whatnot to save Xbox, like it sucks. People are gonna lose their jobs, but you got to do what you got to do to keep your company alive. And you know, she's making some good choices, but some of these choices, like I think, was more for fan approval than it was to really help out the business. I mean, the fact that they cut the price of Game Pass, like that was shocking to me because you're in the business to make money, and how many times in history have we heard, oh well, you're paying for a subscription? No, we're gonna lower the price. We're not gonna raise the price. My Netflix subscription has gone up how many times? I used to pay $8 a month for my Netflix. Now I'm paying, I think it's 23. Like it's insane. Uh, she's got to make some tough choices, and unfortunately, people are probably going to lose their jobs. And I think this is also a product of like they're still feeling the reverb of buying Activision Blizzard. Like we said back then, there's going to be layoffs because a lot of people are going to be redundant, and I think this is just them, paying the price for that acquisition a long time ago.
Yeah, but
The
here's the
fact that
thing. Like, look at it this way. We just talked about Gears of War. Imagine you cut that budget in half. You could easily pay for the next Ninja Theory and Double Fine product easily, and probably have money left over.
I listen. I shit on Xbox a lot, and half of it's joke and half of it's serious. I still believe the fact that they put out their first party games day one on Game Pass is a huge, huge mistake. Sony takes a year at the minimum, sometimes 2 years to put their first party games on PlayStation Plus. You cannot spend even if Gears of War was 200 million, you cannot spend $200 million making a game and then basically essentially put it out for free day one. You're never going to make that money back up. To me, that is a losing effort all the way around. You have to make some money off the game, and then once sales have died off, that's when you put it on there for free because you go, okay, now everybody can play the game for free.
But how else do you get people to subscribe to your top tier of Game Pass otherwise? Like it's like when the WB launched the WB network and you paid $10 a month and you got all the pay-per-views. You pretty much killed your pay-per-view business because no one's going to go pay $50, $60 for a pay-per-view when you could just be a subscriber to the network and pay $10 a month. So they've already thought Go ahead.
But see, that's different because when we were paying $60 or $50 or $60 for the pay-per-views, WWE was only getting a small percentage of that number. So them launching the WWE network is significantly different because they're essentially still making the same amount of money, but now they control the library and they're able to put their own stuff on there. Them putting outside of server costs, because I'm not trying to downgrade this at all. Outside of server cost, WWE has all that material they can put up there for free. They can put up what they want, take down what they want. They're not paying. They don't have to pay a pay-per-view service to host their product. Now they host their own product. The fact that WWE is now on Netflix, which is just like years ago, who would you ever think that any live weekly episodic show is going to be on Netflix? No. That WWE's pulling that off. So WWE going from pay-per-view to the WWE network, that's not the same comparison because they weren't making that much money off the pay-per-views anyway. The cable companies were. This is you're spending $200 million on your employees, and then eventually saying, all your hard work, because E-Day was in production, according to the website or the internet, for 6 years. You're paying employees for 6 years to make a game, and then essentially on day one saying we're going to give it away for free. That is not a good
It's
business
well again,
strategy,
it's
in my
it's like
opinion.
saying getting games for PlayStation Plus Essential is free. It's not. You pay a subscription for that. So, but
But let's be real. People that are paying for Game Pass and they're paying for PlayStation Plus, I would argue and say a good portion of those people are paying for the access to play online. They're not paying Plus for the free games. It's an added bonus, but I think you're paying for Plus now because you want to play online.
plus more so for anything for cloud saves, but also free games. Playing online, I don't play with people enough for it to be really matter that much. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I would have to stop playing Rocket League, but if I
yeah, but
really, I would
you would
rather.
agree you're in the minority there, though, right?
What's that?
You would agree that you're probably in the minority in that aspect, right?
Actually, no. Wait, Rocket League you can play regardless, right? You don't have to have online for
I'm
that.
not sure. I'm not sure. I will Google that.
But this has come up on the show before. But there are some games that are just free to play, and you can play them online regardless. Helldivers, I would have to give up, but I could do that. I mean, hell, at this point in that game, I'm kind of just wishing they were over it and would make a fucking new game. But
You do not need. You don't need Plus to play Rocket League.
um, but for me, it's the games. The games and the cloud saves more so than online access because I just don't play Rocket League. I would still be able to play Rocket League and Helldivers too. Like, yeah, I would have to give that up, but there's not really anything else that I would, play online. So, I mean, I guess I would have to, if I wanted help in Ghost of Yote in the Legends mode, I would have to pay for it. But.
But again, you would say you're probably in the minority for that, though. Would you? Would you agree to that?
I mean, maybe. I mean, yes, a lot of people probably begrudgingly pay for, a subscription to PlayStation Plus to play online, even though as we've gone over, time and again, you shouldn't have to. You should just be able to play online. But trying to read the tea leaves and kind of peer into the future, and they launch the subscription service as a way to be kind of future proof and get into the future before either Sony or Nintendo, because neither Sony or Nintendo were going to do that. And they've already, they've kind of shot their load. They're like, hey, here's our first party games on day one with your subscription, and they can't take that back because then you kill all motivation to buy Game Pass. And that's the defining feature. Like they've realized that they can't outsell the PlayStation. They've realized they can't outsell the Nintendo. So they have to have something that differentiates them that can bring people to their platform. Which also, you know, Game Pass takes people away from the Xbox platform because you can just do it on PC. But
I think they're still two separate things. I think there's a console Game Pass and a PC Game Pass.
but there's also one where you can play on both, right?
Yeah, I think that's Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah. The point is, you don't have to have an Xbox to have Game Pass.
Well,
At this
to
point,
be
I just
honest, I
don't know
think
what you expect them to do about that. Like they're gonna have to keep putting. They may be able to take Call of Duty off, but Gears of War, Halo, like if you start taking those off of there, people are like, we're not paying however much a month to play fucking Grounded. You know?
Yeah, listen, I don't know what the solution is, but I just think that and like I said, I'm against you spend all that money on your employees to develop a game, 6 years, 4 years, whatever it is, and then essentially you're giving the game away for free. I mean, yes, Alex, you're right. You are paying the subscription price. You are paying for it, but like I said many times, and I was kind of proven right not too long ago. You know, you, there's not enough money coming in through Game Pass that you're gonna be able to sustain this. It's not a good business strategy, in my opinion, because you're paying what $120 a year for Ultimate at the highest tier, and that's essentially 2 games. So if you play 3 games on Game Pass, you're losing money. It's just the way I see it. I felt that way for the longest time. So,
Well, we'll see how
all right.
Xbox pivots. I mean, obviously they've got a potentially a new direction, but maybe it looked like for a moment the clouds had passed, and some of the the tumultuous nature of the Microsoft and Xbox relationship we had gotten through, and no, it actually may be getting worse before it gets better for them.
Yep. All right. Let's throw it over to Facebook and get our listener questions.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
All right. So Matt posted in our Facebook group and you can go to every week to ask us questions. Thomas jokingly put a picture of Elmo with a fire behind him, saying, "Now this is a legit reason to burn New York City." Well, he just says "New City." Um, I'm assuming he means because of the way the fans are acting about the Knicks. Staying on the Knicks conversation, Mr. Collins says, as an OKC fan, I was thrilled to see the Knicks take down the dirty and arrogant Wembley, plus his annoying sidekick. Castle, Jalen Brunson is the all-time Knick now. Such a beast. OKC versus New York next year. I'm not ready to call Brunson the all-time Knick. I think that still falls with Frazier and Ewan.
I think he. I mean, dude, he won 2 NCAA titles at Villanova, and he was like, I think he won like some equivalent MVP award, or he was MVP of the tournament or something. I can't remember exactly what award he won, but he's also Finals MVP. Brought a title back to, the Knicks or to New York after 53 years. No, I mean this Knicks team is better than the. I mean, yeah, in the '90s, New York had to go through the Tim Duncan Spurs, the David Robinson Spurs. They had to go through Michael Jordan. Like, yeah, I get it. It was a different era, but I mean, this unfortunately,
I'm not saying Brunson's bad. I'm not saying that at all. But to claim he's the all-time Knick now,
you know why?
I don't know if you're ready to go there yet.
You want to know why you don't feel that way?
Yeah,
Because
tell
you
me.
grew up with Ewing. I think Frazier's a little bit before your time, but you grew up with Ewing and Jalen Brunson's still playing. That's why.
Yeah, but that's like saying, like the old GOAT debate, like who's the GOAT, LeBron or Jordan? I'm always gonna say Jordan.
Yeah,
But
it's Jordan. I mean, they bring different skill sets, but it's they're
and,
always gonna because all the guys that played against Jordan are gonna say Jordan, and all the younger, all the kids who are the younger generations are gonna say LeBron because they grew up watching LeBron do amazing shit since he was 18 years old.
yeah, but we've seen where Jordan went through compared to what LeBron goes through. So, all right, we're not going down that debate. And last question coming from Gareth. How impressed were you that the USA's performance to beat Paraguay 4-1 on Saturday in the World Cup of a proper sport? That's a loaded question. And
Football.
first, Alex, do you, and I'm not saying this to be disrespectful to anybody listening, do you give a shit about soccer?
I mean, I think it's fun to play. I don't like the U.S. has never been good enough. The U.S. has always been decent, but they've never been good enough for Americans to care that much about it. We do have a local soccer team, Lou City, and like they built a nice new stadium for it. It's actually the same place that the UFL's Louisville Kings play, who recently won the championship of the UFL in their first season. So go Louisville Kings. But I mean, I understand why people love soccer. I just also think that we basketball is a high scoring sport. Football can be a high scoring sport. Soccer is just not that. Like soccer is even more low scoring than hockey. So
It's comparable.
I'd still say more score. I mean, for God's sakes, the Hurricanes scored like what 3 or 4 goals in like 3 goals in under a minute. So
Yeah.
you'll never
Well,
see that
I
in
mean,
soccer or football, I should say.
football. I mean, listen, I'm not hating on soccer, but to me, like hockey is the ultimate sport. I've seen too many videos of soccer players going down that weren't even touched, flopping worse than LeBron ever does. And then I watch hockey, and a guy literally has a heart attack on the ice goes back into the locker room. They revive him, and he wants to go out and play the third period. Hockey players, just to me, are more significant. They're tougher. Hockey is more physical, more demanding than any sport out there. And the fact that they let them fight. And the worst thing they do is say, okay, go sit in the box for 5 minutes.
I think one of the cool things that's come out of the World Cup being, hosted here partially in the United States is a lot of the teams from around the world have gone to different areas in like different cities in the U.S. Some of them smaller, some of them larger. I think like Boston is hosting a team, and like Lawrence, Kansas, where the University of Kansas is hosting a team. But like the local communities there, the cities and towns, like oftentimes try to incorporate the culture of those teams into their everyday thing. Like in Lawrence, Kansas, I've heard that when they have the soccer practices there or the football team practices there, like they'll fill up the stadium. And like they'll do like some of the Auburn Tigers like football, like the War Eagle like celebration or stuff like that. So like them incorporating these cultures into their daily society, like while these teams are here, I definitely do think is a really cool thing that's come out from the World Cup. And us beating
And fun.
Paraguay 4-1 is nice. I don't expect us to win, but it's always good when you win. It's better to win than lose.
And fun fact, whenever the United States have hosted the World Cup, the Knicks have won the championship.
Has it been that long since the U.S. hosted a World Cup?
Yeah. So that's the United States holding the World Cup is good news for the Knicks. Currently, let's see. The United States they have one win. They've only played one game. Oh, most teams have only played one game. Okay.
Yeah, they played Friday night.
Yeah. And I'm not shitting, but I didn't know Paraguay was that good of a team.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of
So
of smaller, I don't want to say smaller countries, but there's a lot of countries out there that it's not just like the U.S. and like Turkey and, these larger countries that are playing. There's a lot of smaller countries too, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm saying like whenever I hear about, dominant countries, I never hear Paraguay in the conversation of like dominant things. So again, I'm not shitting on them. I don't know enough to say, hey, this was significant or not. To answer the question, was I impressed with the win? So, all right. That being said, we are going to get to the end of the show with our topic of the week. Alex, how do you feel about telling Matt to go fuck himself when he's not even here?
Toe. Topic of the week. Well, fine then. Fuck you, Matt. Yeah, Matt. You like that, don't you?
All right. So, our topic of the week is the Nintendo June Direct. Matt's notes here, because I did not watch the Direct. I only watched one trailer.
Yeah, I saw one thing. The rest of it didn't fucking matter.
And that's what Alex is going to want to talk about. Announced at the show, but it's also announced at other shows, but also coming to the Switch 2, Rayman Legends Retold, Onimusha 2, The Way of the Sword, Big Walk, and Lords of the Fallen 2. Released on the Switch 2 is Lies of P Complete Edition, Devil May Cry 5, Devil Hunters Edition, Minecraft Switch 2 Edition, Kingdom Hearts Collection, Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2, Metal Gear Solid Remaster Collection 2, Metaphor ReFantazio, Stellar Blade, Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3, and the new games that are notable that are announced. The Nintendo Switch Sports Resort, a new series of sports-themed minigames. DLC for Pokepia coming August. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weaves coming September 17th. Dragon's Dogma 2 Dark Arisen. Star Fox also got a new trailer and a same-day demo release. Kingdom Hearts 4, which shocked everybody, got a trailer and showed off some gameplay. And Alex got his mother effing wish. Zelda has finally come back to the Nintendo Switch via a short trailer officially announcing the Ocarina of Time remake.
About time. Can't tell you how long I can stop bitching about it now. Because it's actually coming this year. It's 2026. So obviously they'll have Star Fox out here. I can't remember when the release date for Star Fox is, but it's summertime. And then I imagine that Ocarina will be their big winter game or their big holiday game.
Matt has some thoughts on the show. His thoughts were the show was not great, and you could tell they were hinging on the Kingdom Hearts 4 and Zelda to anchor it. It has a lot more. It was a lot more about some of the minor games coming out and some third-party games finally reaching Nintendo's ecosystem. As usual, there's plenty of updated Switch 1 games coming, but I'm a little miffed at people who bought the Kingdom Hearts collection on Switch 1, which is a cloud-based game purchase. Do not get a free upgrade to the Switch 2 versions, which could natively be downloaded. Nintendo proudly proclaims your Switch 1 saves could transfer to the Switch 2 version like that's a game breaker. Kingdom Hearts 4 looks good on the Switch, but need to see some live demos before the final decision. And Ocarina of Time was Nintendo's worst kept secret, and the brief trailer did not do much to advertise the game, though it may not need to. The real surprise that is coming in 2026, further continuing Nintendo's latest trend of announcing a game and releasing it not too long after, which he's always in support of. Alex, I'm glad that you're getting your remake. Two things I will say about it. One, I wish it would have been a Link in Time, not Ocarina of Time. And also, I don't understand why that's all they showed was that little teaser trailer.
That's all they had to
I
show.
think people
It's all they because they've announced. I think that they're doing a special direct because they did a direct for Star Fox, which is coming out on June 25th. I looked it up. They did a direct for simply just Star Fox, and they're going to do one for Ocarina. Well, we'll see more.
Right, but I think they should have showed some sort of gameplay, some in-game.
All they
graphics.
needed to do confirm it. See, Nintendo's smart. They just had to confirm it, and people went nuts. I haven't bought a Switch 2 yet. Like the other day, I was in Target and I was staring it down. I was like, do I buy it today? You know, when you have that intuition where you're like, maybe I shouldn't spend this money right now. I don't know. Boom. Got that home that day and our air conditioning upstairs went out. So I had to call somebody to come fix it. Luckily, it was a relatively cheap fix. But because of that, I was hesitant to buy it because I didn't know how much our HVAC costs were going to be. But I am going to buy it. I'll probably buy Star Fox 2, but based solely on Ocarina, I'll buy the system. It's a system seller, 100%. All you had to do was confirm it was coming and say, hey, we'll show you more for the direct. And in the meantime, people will speculate and people will be excited. It really didn't need any more. And I kind of agree with what Matt said. I mean, Kingdom Hearts was really the only other thing of note. Everything else was kind of stuff that's already been out before, but it didn't matter. You could have announced jack shit at this direct. As long as you had Ocarina sit at the end, everyone was going to be happy. And
listen,
I know you like A Link to the Past, and I understand that, but I will say is, what can you really do to improve that game? Like, really, you go back and play that game, it's as good as it ever was. Ocarina has obviously, in the jump to 3D, aged not nearly as well. Visually, it doesn't look as good. The Z targeting doesn't feel as good. There are things you can improve upon in the game, and like with remakes, that's what I love. I love the fact that, you know, with Ocarina on the 3DS, you know, they went back and they changed things. That, like, there was a part, everyone talks about the water temple and how difficult it was to get through the first time and how you could get stuck, but you could also kind of get stuck in the forest temple because in the very first room when the wolves pop up when you first enter the forest temple, there's a key in a chest at the top of the trees, and you didn't see that in the N64 version, and they changed that in the 3DS version where the camera pans up to show you the chest in the trees. So that's the kind of thing is I really want to see how they improve upon things. Can you make certain boss fights, mainly Morpha, better? Do you make Morpha the mini boss, and then do you make Dark Link the final boss in the Water Temple? There are so many things you can do to improve Ocarina, and given that you can make the game look better with new technology, and so that you're playing the definitive version of Ocarina of Time, it makes so much more sense to do that above A Link to the Past.
Will says they should call it a rerun.
Well, they say reborn, but I mean, they didn't show us much, but from what it seems like, they showed Link and they established that he's not Kokiri, he's different from everyone. They had the glint of the Triforce on his fist because he's one of the three pieces of the Triforce of Courage. So, I mean, they showed me all that I need to see. I know it's coming. I've been waiting for this game for so long to play it on a large television screen that I'm going to buy it regardless. But, I understand Nintendo's reticence to kind of make this game because it's really one of their landmark games. It may be their most important game ever made. Maybe one of the most important games ever made because it's one of those things that brought us into 3D and dealt with 3D space and 3D combat before most games did. So it's a pretty important game. And I think that maybe they were like, do we really want to do this? Because, like, what if we don't do it well enough, What if it's not as good as people remember? And so I understand some hesitation, but you just kind of, I don't want to say you owed the fans, but you kind of needed to do this. Like, the game needs to be seen in modern technology. So I'm excited as hell. I'm more excited for this than Wolverine. I'm more excited for this than any other game that's been announced. I cannot wait to play this game.
Do you remember when it was initially released?
It was 1998.
Yes, November of 1998.
It's almost 30 years
Will
old.
Yeah, Will in the chat says something always gets lost in these remasters. It remains to be seen if they can recapture the magic.
There's not going to be the same magic as playing it for the first time, but there will be some recaptured magic because if you play it you go to the N64 channel on the Switch and you play it again, it's like, oh yeah, I remember this. Playing it with new visuals and new mechanics or like better combat helps with that. And like I said, you can make improvements to the game. That's the great part about iteration is you can see where you faltered before and you can make as much of a perfect game as you possibly can. You have the template, you have the story, you have the characters, you have the dungeons, you have the bosses. You can just work on improving all of it if you want to. Now, we saw that, like, with EA Motive, they added certain things to Dead Space that made Dead Space better, but for the most part, Dead Space was largely the same game. So, if they just make a better playing, better looking Ocarina of Time with a few changes here and there, people will be happy as hell. But again, like the Water Temple, people complained about the Water Temple. This is your chance to make the best Water Temple you can. They know what went wrong, they know what could be better, and they can make it a great experience. And that's why I constantly ask for a Mega Man 3 remake, because that game was made under such duress, under such stress, and under such tight timelines that it came out, it's playable, and it's a really good game, but there are things you could do to improve the experience. And that's where remakes are really great. These kind of games, a nearly 30-year-old game, most people probably have not played Ocarina since their childhood or since they were growing up. And to be able to put it out now 30 years later with better technology, I think is just it's one of the things that make me look at remakes. I don't care so much for remasters. I think remasters are, I'm playing War Mastered Edition of Darksiders now, so I guess to some degree it worked on me, but remakes are really where I believe in this kind of stuff. Like, I would like a remake of Darksiders, but like this is where you can really make a game that is beloved and lauded, and you can make it better. And that's just something you can't really pass on. So I don't care that they're not giving us a new Zelda. I don't care they're not giving us a new 3D Mario. They're giving us Ocarina of Time, and at this point, that's the best thing they could give us, honestly.
Wow. I'm sorry. I heard everything you said. I'm looking up Switch prices. Do you know you could only buy their controllers if you own their online subscription service?
You can only buy their controllers if you have their online. Well, first of all, their online subscription service is a piddly amount. So
yeah, like you could buy the Super Nintendo Entertainment controller, you could buy the N64, or you could buy the NES controllers, but you have to have a subscription to their online service to buy those. That's wild.
I was not aware of that, but yeah, I mean, obviously they announced this before September, so that's when the price goes up. So you can go buy a Switch 2 for $50 cheaper, or you can go buy one of the bundles, and the bundles now have an option where you can choose one of 3 games to download. You can either get Mario Kart, you can get Donkey Kong, or you can get Pokemon Pokopia. So you have some options there to save some money on a game you may want. But I've got to credit Nintendo. Like, it was the right call. Whether it was the worst kept secret or not, it doesn't matter. They gave the fans what they wanted. And I think if you're a Majora's Mask fan, this kind of signals that you may be getting a Majora's Mask remake at some point. But they gave us this news and all the information we needed to know before the console went up in price. So, bravo. I don't care about their. I don't think that. I agree with Matt. I don't think that's an impressive direct at all. But for Kingdom Hearts fans and for Zelda fans, it's what you could. It's more than you could ever ask for.
See the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer also. I did see that. I'm a little worried about it because okay, I haven't played Kingdom Hearts significantly since the first one. I played a little bit of 2. I never touched 3, but I always thought the lore of Kingdom Hearts was you going into the Disney properties world, and this in 4, the trailer for 4, it looks like you're just in some random city. Like, are they moving away from the whole let's go to Disney properties for the story?
I did not see the trailer, so I don't know. I mean, I could see, like, maybe if they don't want to pay Disney for the licensing, maybe they could do that, but also it seems like it would suck the soul out of Kingdom Hearts. So,
Well,
like, I mean, like, because also Kingdom
they're
would.
already paying for the property because they're linked together. They've already announced that Mickey's probably a playable character.
So, yeah, I mean, to be fair, Tricky, there's probably a lot of Disney you've missed out on. So, just because you don't, like, can't geolocate the exact location of where the trailer is, doesn't mean that they're not necessarily going to, Disneylands.
Yeah, but I was saying, okay, you're right. But also in the trailer, it didn't say, hey, like, we're going to Wreck-'em Ralph or we're going to, Under the Sea or whatever. Like, there was none of that. It was straight just combat. And they did show off some gameplay. So, I don't know. I feel like they could have done more with that, especially since, obviously they waited to announce it for the Nintendo Direct. But, yeah. I didn't watch the direct. I just saw the trailer for Zelda and Kingdom Hearts. Nothing else really interests me. I mean, I'm already playing Metal Gear. I've already ever pre-ordered on my PlayStation. Yeah. So I'm glad Zelda's coming back. I wish it was Link in Time, but Alice, you do have a good point that game still holds up. So their priority probably was Ocarina of Time. So.
I mean, what was I forget
Um,
what the name of they just remade, and it looks like The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which was the one where you played as Zelda. Um, I can't remember what was it Link's Awakening they remade? So, I mean, you could do something in that
yes.
style for A Link to the Past. I just think that, there's not as much of a need as for like if you're a Nintendo, you've got people scouring the internet. They've got people, in the know on message boards and what people, knowing what people want. And the noise for Ocarina just has to be so loud. So, and especially after, what was it, the last anniversary they did where they announced Skyward Sword HD, and I'm sure a lot of people really like Skyward Sword. It's a fine game. It's just not the best 3D Zelda, and I think there was probably some disappointment in that regard, and they probably heard some of the noise from that, and it's like, okay, well, this is what we gotta do. So, you may get your Link to the Past, you know, remake at some point, but also I think that because it's a Super Nintendo game, those kind of graphics and like the gameplay is just kind of timeless. Like, you never need to remake Super Mario World or Super Punch Out or so many other games on like Super Metroid. You never have to remake them because they just play that well and look that good even now.
Do you? I'm not shitting, but you're saying that
Well, I hope you're
the
not shitting. We're
64
here on a
doesn't hold up.
podcast.
You're saying that the 64 games don't hold up like the Super Nintendo games do?
Dude, think about the Dreamcast, and like my mind was fucking blown the first time I saw Ready to Rumble Boxing. And you go back and look at that stuff now, it doesn't look nearly as good because damn, like look at some of the graphics we've had since. So I that transition, the polygonal transition from the 16-bit to, the PlayStation era and the Sega Saturn and all that, Marvel vs. Capcom or like X-Men Children of the Atom, yeah, like it's stylized graphics, so it still looks good. But a lot of that stuff that's 3D, like, Virtual Fighter and Tekken and stuff like that, just doesn't look as good these days. And like, yes, you're always going to have a fondness for the first time you played Ocarina, but you look back at those games and just how, like, everything's all pointy and, like, it just doesn't look as good. In the trailer, like, that you saw Link, like, you could see the individual hairs on his head, you know? And so as much as everyone loves to talk about how impactful Super Mario 64 was on them, that game doesn't look as good. It doesn't look as good as Super Mario Sunshine or Galaxy or anything that came after it.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's wrap up the show. Alice, let's do some shout outs.
Want to give a shout out to the listeners, the fans, the fuel to the fire that is Trophy Horrors. Thank you all very much for your continued support. It means everything to us. I give a shout out to our artist Will, who does all of our banners and pics for the episodes. Thank you, Will. Give a shout out to my co-host Tricky, as well as Yield and Matt, who could not be here tonight. A shout out to Nintendo for giving us what we fucking asked for all these years. And I will reward you with my money by buying a Switch. And also by buying Star Fox. And last but not least, I want to give a shout out to my awesome and loving girlfriend, Ashley. I love you, hun. And she will also benefit from this because she wants to play Pokopia, so we will likely be buying the bundle where she gets to play and download Pokopia. So everybody wins. Everybody dance.
You don't want to give a shout out to Kat?
Oh, Karl Anthony Towns?
Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to De'Aaron Fox because he's taken a lot of shit, and I don't think it's fair. I don't think.
Oh no, he deserves.
No, he
it.
doesn't. Like okay.
He fucked up royally.
Dude, Wemby had 19 points in the final game compared to Jalen Brunson's 45, 46. Stephen Castle was 1 for 10, and what's his name, Dylan Harper, who everyone's like, oh, put him in for Fox, bricked 2 layups in the last 5 minutes. So that entire team fucked up. It wasn't just De'Aaron Fox. So everybody can.
No. I'm not putting it all on him. But there's no reason to go for that layup. He should have just held onto that ball, made him foul him.
In the moment, but he was just trying to score. It's not like everyone's like, oh, is he J.R. Smith? No, J.R. Smith grabbed the rebound and ran the fuck other way, away from the rim, like he was going to go score on the other basket.
Because he thought they were up by a point.
Nothing will ever be as bad as J.R. Smith. At least De'Aaron Fox was trying to score points for his team. But also, you remember in that game, Wemby bricked 2 free throws. He's supposed to be one of the best players in the world, and he bricked 2 free throws that would have put them up. So, no, it's not all on De'Aaron Fox. Everybody leave De'Aaron Fox alone. But yeah, Keldon Johnson on the Spurs, also a Kentucky Wildcat. I feel for those guys. But there was an image and video of De'Aaron Fox going to Mike Brown, the coach of the Knicks, as well as Karl Anthony Towns, another former Wildcat, giving him hugs, giving their props for winning. So I love seeing the two Wildcats embrace. Obviously, very proud of Cat. He only played at Kentucky for 1 season, but he's probably one of the most liked, most beloved Wildcats there ever is, especially of the Calipari era. And he's talked about a lot this season about losing his mother and how during their playoff run he felt her energy there, and that kind of willed him to play better and to play for her. And he's taken a lot of shit over the years. When he was on the Timberwolves, and even his first year in New York, but the dude just helped him win a championship. So I got nothing but love for Cat. I think he's a great representative for the University of Kentucky, and I'm really happy that he won a championship.
Yeah, I'm not putting it all on Fox, but
he made some bonehead plays, but everybody on that team did as well.
Absolutely.
The Spurs lost as a team, and it also goes on their coach Mitch Johnson. I can't remember what his name is. But yeah, they got a young team.
I think so.
They got even Wemby's only 22. They got a young team. They'll be back. They just weren't ready for the Knicks. The Knicks were just a better team, a more cohesive team with more veteran players. Hell, again, 3 of the guys on the Knicks are from Villanova, and they won multiple national titles in college. So that's just a winning DNA. Karl Anthony Towns was on a Kentucky team that almost went undefeated and almost won a national championship. So there's just a winning DNA to that Knicks team. OG Anunoby was on the Toronto Raptors that year that they won the title, I believe. Even though I don't think he played in the finals. So
he did not.
Just winning DNA all on that team.
I just lost respect for Webley because he walked off the court and didn't shake anybody's hands, and I'm very much everybody knows I'm very much a hockey guy. One of the traditions in hockey is after the series, both teams shake hands. Wembley just walked off, and apparently the whole team did too. There's like only one or two Spurs that stayed on the court to shake the hands of the Knicks.
Well, I mean,
So
they may also because I mean, it was obviously going to be chaos. You had a bunch of Knicks fans there. They may have wanted to clear the court. I'm not. I mean, yeah, sportsmanship is a big thing, so you should be play in a sportsmanlike manner. But it may have been a thing like the Knicks were going to celebrate, maybe it's going to be chaos, and they kind of just wanted to get the players on the floor. But like I said, De'Aaron Fox went and congratulated some of the guys, so you got to give him credit for that. But yeah, it was a New York win, so I'm sure that the Knicks fans will be celebrating every day until next season.
yeah, I like I said, I worked the Puerto Rican Day Parade yesterday, and every single float there was a Knicks person there. Even Damian Priest was there and was wearing New York gear. So, yeah, it was crazy, and like everybody, just keep me in your thoughts on Thursday because it's gonna be crazy in the city. We'll give a shout out to everybody who's listening. Shout out to Will, who's in our chat. Will, I will get on Alex to get you a show title so you can make our theme or thumbnail. Shout
Nintendo
out to
did
Alex.
it.
Thank you.
Instead of Nintendo don't, or Sega does what Nintendo don't, Nintendo did it. How about that?
You're getting bad at these games.
What are you
man.
talking about, man? You're far worse at coming up with titles than I am.
Mine are so much better than what you're coming
Yeah, I
up
guess that's
with.
why we didn't use your title last week.
Well, we didn't use my title last week because I give you veto power, which I may have to revoke soon.
Because you're intelligent.
Shout out to Alex for showing up to record. Thank you, Alex, for recording on a Monday instead of a Sunday to get a show out this week.
I am disappointed Matt wasn't here, but we had to talk about Zelda. And I had to kind of talk about my experiences with Darksiders. So yeah, it was a show that and especially on a week that I have to edit when there's only two of us, two voice tracks. I'll take that opportunity.
Yeah. So I don't know if we're recording next week or not. That's gonna be the this thing. I don't know. Will says he said cool. I don't know if he meant cool the fact that I'm gonna get him a name or the fact that he's liking your name so far.
It's probably a double
but
thing,
Double fine.
No, like a lot of times I will ask Ashley, for like a between two
You
choices,
stepped
or give her two
all over
options,
my
and she'll say
joke.
yes, meaning yes to both.
You just stepped all over my joke.
Well, Tricky, I never know. Your joke deserves to be trampled sometimes.
Shout out to everybody that listens to the show. Thank you for downloading it. And we will see you guys next week. If there's nothing else, happy trophy hunting.
Do 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 do. The song of storms, bitch.
You know people can still hear you, right?
That's why I did it.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.